Transnewfield, 1968, by Robertson-Swann. Transnewfield is located halfway along Pier 89, on the left-hand side of the Pier building, just beyond a cafe, and next to the Transfield offices. This work is made of 3 steel elements, chopped into shapes, and welded together. Robertson-Swann's sculpture, Transnewfield, 1968, is located halfway along the western side of the 9-metre wide concrete apron that wraps around Pier 89. At this point, the second level of the converted wharf building extends a few metres out over the concrete to form a covered walkway, which protects the sculpture. The 3 red steel elements, with a maximum height of 2 metres, have been arranged in a line along a grey metal ankle-high plinth, 7 metres long and 1.5 metres across. In 2019, Robertson-Swann reflected upon the history of the sculpture's creation. The Transfield factory at Seven Hills was my first sculpture studio on my return to Australia in 1968. To see such a complex of industry on that scale was both intimidating and inspiring, especially after working in the basement of the sculpture department at St Martin's School of Art in London in the early 60s, using gas welding and hand files to make steel sculptures. To see that steel could be rolled, bent and forged on that scale was a revelation to me and expanded the possibilities of my sculpture. The rolled I-beam in my sculpture Transnewfield is a small example. The management and workers were helpful to me once they decided I wasn't dangerously mad. The canteen was as good as some Italian restaurants in town, and that made me feel somewhat at home after coming from Europe. It was something of a drive from Bellevue Hill to Seven Hills, but in those days you could still see a bit of the countryside. Patronage of that sort from industry was rare in those days, and Transfield led the way boldly. Sculpture can't be explained. It has its own visual language, and artists' intentions don't come with guarantees. The work has to be experienced. But in an attempt to say something about an aspect of Transnewfield, it's a bit like the pressure of 2 tectonic plates meeting, and the shapes are forced upwards towards a peak.